Hi, my name is Balvina Rios, and this is my audience. To start, let me begin with a story. I am 7 years old. I am thinking about the second grade. I'm thinking about a new teacher, a new classroom, new class friends. Mom walks me into the room, and she smiles as she waves goodbye. I turn around, and suddenly I'm lost. I see letters, numbers. I see colors, red, white, blue, green. I want to run. I'm afraid. But wait, I'll just hide under the nearest desk. But I can't get there fast enough. Okay, I made it. I'm under the desk. I cover my ears and I close my eyes. I made it. Now all I can hear is my heartbeat. I'm okay. I'm okay. What I just described to you is an overload of the senses, medically known as sensory processing disorder. Because of the odd behavior, a child may be diagnosed with ADHD or ADD, hence causing the child to be unnecessarily medicated. To avoid this, we will cover three major points. First, what is sensory processing disorder? Second, how to diagnose. And third, treatment. Let's start with what is sensory processing disorder. According to Melissa Wire, an occupational therapist with Children's Hospital, and Lindsay Bill, an author of Raising a Sensory Smart Child, sensory processing disorder is failure of the senses to send the correct signals to the brain. Now, ADHD and ADD have to do with focusing, oftentimes accompanied by hyperactivity. This can be corrected through medication. Sensory processing disorder, however, cannot be corrected by medication. It will not aid the child in gaining the necessary skills to deal with sensory overload. Let's move on now how to diagnose. To start, you can seek out your early intervention center through your local state. They are federally funded, and oftentimes the test is free of cost. Second, you can seek out your child's school and request that the school's occupational therapist conduct an in-classroom observation. If the child is diagnosed with sensory processing disorder, they will then direct you as to what to do next. The other option you have is you can talk to your social services, and they'll connect you to the early intervention center, where then they will direct you and conduct the proper tests. You can also seek out your pediatrician or your medical professional. They will then give you a referral to an occupational therapist, where then your child will begin therapy. Let's move on now to treatment. You have heard me speak about occupational therapy. An occupational therapist is a medical professional that will work with your child at a sensory gym. At a sensory gym, an occupational therapist will work with your child where they will be giving your children tasks. For example, a child will be given the opportunity to work with an infinity symbol. They will trace the infinity symbol first with their right hand, tracing it, and then we'll do a series of tracing in the same direction. They will then switch and do it with their left hand, and they will trace in the same direction starting from the same point. And they will complete the series. This aids in sending the proper signals to the brain. It will train the body to send the proper signals to the brain. It will help in concentration, but most importantly, it will help the child with the writing skills. A child also may be given the task of building things with Legos. Building Legos requires concentration and also requires manipulation of the Legos. This also helps in concentration and with writing skills. Oftentimes, the child will be given instructions as to what to do with the Legos while they're actually doing the Legos to simulate what happens in a classroom. Now, let's talk about the S you see behind me. You may think that the S represents sensory. Now, it does in a way represent sensory. To conclude, let me leave you with a final example. The S represents sensory in a way. But in the movie Superman, Man of Steel, there is a scene where he is a child. In the scene, he is discovering his super senses. Now, I'm not saying that these children have super senses or superpowers, but they are sensitive. So, the child is overwhelmed, runs out of the room, and locks himself in a closet. This is exactly what happens to a child that has sensory processing disorder. Now, in the beginning, you might have thought that in the story, the child was me. However, the child in the story is my son, Oscar. The mom is me. We both went through this whole process and we discovered what to do. Now, my son is successfully in occupational therapy and has made leaps of progress through occupational therapy. In summary, let's cover what sensory processing is. It is an overload of the senses. It is also known as sensory disintegration dysfunction. It is not ADHD or ADD. And let me make clear that none of these disorders are learning disabilities. These children are oftentimes bright and see the world in a different way and are very creative. My son Oscar's education is no longer suffering because of sensory processing disorder. The sensory diet that includes doing the infinity symbol, building Legos, and also brushing. By brushing, it sends proper signals to the brain and it trains the body, and it also helps with defensive tactile to keep the child calm. Now, I want to thank everyone for listening, and I will now show you my audience. Thank you.